It is the first day of the new year, and today I want to sit down and talk a little bit about my predictions for The Sims in 2022. Now, I should clarify, not all of these things are like predictions. I've made more of a list of like expectations for The Sims, and I guess a little bit of a wish list, but not all of these things are things that I'm wishing for. As in, they're not all things that I want to happen, but they're things that I think will happen. Does that make sense? Also, quick disclaimer, I think you think I know more about The Sims than I do. If I actually knew anything about any of these things confirmed, why would I make a video on it? I'm not trying to get sued by EA. I'm not gonna leak anything in a YouTube video like this. I'm just talking like you are, okay? Are we on the same page? But with that being said, let's get started. As far as game updates and free content goes, I have a few thoughts. Because we have this new SDX Sims Delivery Express thing, it's really posed a few questions that I hadn't really ever considered before. So if you missed it, The Sims just made this whole new system to deliver free content to us without requiring a game update. So they built out this whole thing in the game so they can just like send out a hairstyle or like here's a new wallpaper and just drop it, and then you have to restart your game and then you'll have it downloaded. So you don't need like a full patch in Origin to do it. It just goes through the game for like a small thing, little hairstyles, maybe small bug fixes. Well, they made this whole system so that kind of makes you assume that they're going to be giving us more free content drops, right? Because why else would they make it? So I'd kind of expect to see one of those SDX drops at least like once a month, right? But the question is, we've only had 2 of them and they were only a week apart, but they were the first ones. So there's not really a lot to compare that to. So I don't really know what sort of cadence of these to expect. I think once a month makes sense to me. That's the same frequency we had game updates in the past. But if they're only going to do it once a month, why'd they make the whole thing to do it? I don't know. Are we going to get less game updates now? Like, are we going to do more of these small SDX drops? Here's a hair, here's a shoe, here's a fireplace or whatever, and then have less like big game updates? Are they trying to like lessen the frequency of those now? I don't know. Maybe we'll get more than once a month SDX drops, but I find that kind of hard to believe, and I don't want to get my hopes up too high there because I don't want to be disappointed. So with that one, we'll kind of have to just wait and see. There's not a lot to go off of to make any definitive answers there. I mean, I guess we'll find out in the next couple of weeks once everyone's back to work and everything, and obviously I will keep you posted if we get any news about it. And as far as gameplay updates go, I think we can expect a couple big ones this year. I mean, we had a couple big ones last year, and we also know for a fact that they're going to continue this story progression update. We got like phase 1 of their new story progression plans where you can like influence your neighbors to do things like, hey, have you considered getting a new job? Or have you considered breaking up with your husband? You can kind of like ask your Sims friends to do that. Well, they've talked already about planning to make like global settings for your game to like have everyone else move on and continue their lives without your interference. So I think we can expect to see that this year. I mean, I don't know when this year, but at some point. I'd also personally just love to see some more gameplay for kids and teens. I don't know if we're actually gonna get anything like that, but that's a little wish list item for me. I'd love to get some more stuff for the younger ones to do. Do I expect that in a free update? No, not really. Would I like to see it in a free update? Yes, I would. That's the thing with this video. We're talking realistic expectations. Do those align with my wish lists? No. Do I want them to? Yes. Kind of continuing on that idea, let's talk about kits. Do I want to see more kits? No. Do I think we will see more kits? Yes, and I think we're gonna see a lot of them. Honestly, I wouldn't be surprised if we got like 10 to 12 more kits this year. In my head, I'm kind of expecting them to be like once a month, kind of like those SDX drops. So we first got kits announced back in March of last year, and now, as of the end of December, we've got 9. So that kind of adds up to being about 1 a month. They weren't like announced that way, like they did like 2 or 3 at once a couple times, but at the end of the day, it broke down to being about 1 a month when you averaged it out. So I'd sort of anticipate that same thing to happen next year. Maybe they announce 2 in the summer and then skip a month or whatever, but I still think we probably get around 10 to 12 next year. As of right now, we only have 1 like gameplay kit and the rest are all build and fashion based. I'd really like to see some more gameplay kits come out. I don't know if Bust the Dust was like the best first one to introduce because it seems like people kind of meme on that one a lot, like the dust pack. Oh, you can vacuum, oh boy. But honestly, I kind of like to see more gameplay items get added, so I hope that they don't let the dust thing discourage them. But if they don't, I feel like we probably get like half and half build and cast ones. I still feel so conflicted on kits because I like getting new build items. Like I enjoy seeing the cast. I'm a builder, so I'm obviously more intrigued by the build ones. And I'm not gonna complain about more items. I just like the price and the frequency of these is so hard for me to accept. Like if we actually get 12 more kits next year, $60? $60 worth of kits. I just can't accept this. this. And obviously they're not intending for like everyone to buy all of them, but $60 worth of kits? No gameplay? Just cast and build items? I don't know. I would just much rather see like an expansion pack or a game pack. Like give me a new world, you know? If we're gonna drop that kind of money on Sims content, I would way rather it be an expansion pack. And you know what? Speaking of expansion packs, I really don't know what to expect this year. We only got one expansion pack in 2021, and that's different than normal. Pretty much every year leading up to last year, like clockwork, every summer, every fall, we got an expansion pack. Usually around like May or June, and then around like November, expansion pack drops. Last year, Cottage Living comes out kind of in the middle of that, and then we wait and wait and wait, and there was never another announcement. There hasn't been any leaks. There hasn't been any talk about an expansion pack. I wouldn't be surprised if we don't get another one until like next summer or next fall. I think they've gone down to just one a year now, so I assume we'll probably only get one in 2022 as well. Honestly, I'm really sad about that. I love getting new expansion packs. I know a lot of people are happy to see less packs being released because it's like one less thing they're missing out on because it's so expensive. But in my mind, we're looking at like probably a year jam-packed full of kits and then no expansion pack content. And I feel like when you compare those two things, like one of them is very obviously a better spend of your money for the most part. Like expansion packs have so much gameplay. They've got cast and build mode. They have a new world. They just add a lot more to your game than like a little tiny $5 pack does. Especially if you're gonna buy like 5 of those $5 packs, it's probably more worth the money to get a game or an expansion pack, you know? So I'm not very pleased with this like shift in the types of content they're producing. I don't know what that expansion pack would end up being when and if they drop it. God, if there's no expansion pack this year, I'm gonna be devastated. We're at this weird point in The Sims 4 where like all of the big ticket ones are done. And I mean that like Seasons and Cats and Dogs, Fame, University, those ones that like all the trailer comments would be like, where's University? Every time they would announce a new pack. We did those already. So they kind of have a lot more room to be creative and like do sort of interesting things. Think like eco lifestyle, kind of out of the box, different than past Sims games. Now, obviously, I did not forget Generations. That is my like #1 Sims request. I would die if they did a Generations pack. If you didn't know, Generations was a pack in The Sims 3 that was like very family based. They added things like prom and graduation and teaching your kids how to drive and sleepovers. You could run a daycare at home. They had after school clubs and strollers and just like so much family stuff. I would do anything for more family stuff in The Sims. Like that is my top of the list dream expansion pack. It has always been. Well, I guess it has been since we got like Seasons and stuff, you know, but now that we have all those things, top of the list. So fingers crossed for a Generations type pack, although I don't know if that's what we're gonna get this year. They obviously know we want that. Like we've been talking about it forever, so it must be on their list. I just don't know if it's like the next one on the list, you know? And oh my god, we have to talk about stuff packs too for a second because I have a bad feeling about stuff packs. This video is kind of cynical, isn't it? But hear me out. We haven't had a stuff pack in a year. The last stuff pack came out on January 26th of last year. It was paranormal stuff. Honestly, in my opinion, probably one of the best stuff packs they ever made. And not because I like love ghosts or anything, but objectively that stuff pack had like the most content. They did a career, there was a new lot type, there was so much furniture, so much cast stuff. It was a big stuff pack. And then they just stopped making them. So we all got like so excited thinking stuff packs are so amazing now, and then kits. So like going off of last year, I kind of find it hard to believe that we'll ever get a stuff pack again. And that's a real shame because I think a lot of us kind of thought of stuff packs as being sort of like the kits of The Sims back in the day, because the earlier stuff packs were a lot worse. Like if you compare Luxury Party, the first stuff pack, to Paranormal, the last one, Luxury Party literally had like 6 build items. There was nothing. It was a useless garbage pack. So we were all like, ooh, boo, stuff packs suck. Then we get Paranormal stuff and we're like, wait a minute, these recent ones like Tiny Living, all of this have been really good. And then they just stopped making them. Why? So I'd love to see more stuff packs. I think there's a lot of potential there. I don't really know if we will. Like if they're gonna keep up with these kits like this, I don't really anticipate seeing stuff packs again. But you know what? One thing I will say is I wouldn't be surprised if we got a pack refresh this year, possibly for a stuff pack, because last year they went back totally unexpectedly and gave a huge update to Spa Day. I did not see that coming. They went back and updated like the second game pack. They didn't have to do that, but they did. They added nail polish and a free update for everybody and then extra nail polish in the pack. They made it so that kids could do yoga and stuff with the adults. There was some new furniture, there was some new cast stuff. It was all around like a pretty solid update, and it was like like to old paid content. So everybody who had already bought it got the update. And then if you bought the pack from now on, it'll come with that stuff too, obviously. I love that they did that because like I said, a lot of those older packs are like objectively worse than the newer ones. They just have less in them. So for example, if they went back and updated Luxury Party, that pack I think actually has potential. Obviously it sucks because it's just small. It has like 6 weird build items. It's got some cast, but a lot of it's kind of ugly. The only gameplay is this like buffet table, which is pretty useful, I will say, because you can have your Sims like serve the whole thing and it just has like high quality, well-made food and a lot of it. It has this like fondue fountain, but ooh, the textures on it are so weird. It like actually looks really bad. It's kind of funny. Like it makes me laugh. I loved it when it came out because it was the first stuff pack. Like I was so into it. But looking back on it now, terrible. And I think the idea of like a fancy party pack is kind of interesting. So if they were to go back and add into the stuff pack like some new tools to control parties, maybe like a party planner career, some more items, like I think that pack actually could be really improved. And I think that it needs to be improved because right now that pack is like objectively a waste of money. It is the worst stuff pack. Like any other stuff pack would be a better investment because it just comes with like twice as much stuff. So I think they have to go back and update that one. And I really hope that they will. Maybe not this year, but someday. I think a lot of those older packs could get an update. So hopefully we'll see at least one this year. I also do think we'll probably get a couple game packs. They've kind of been slow on game packs recently. Like the most recent one was Dream Home Decorator. And then before that was Journey to Batu, which came out in September of 2020. So we only got one last year, but I thought it was really good. Like I love Dream Home Decorator. I love the gameplay. I use the build stuff in like every single build. So I think we can definitely expect like at least one game pack, maybe 2 if we're lucky. And I also think that if they're gonna cut back so much on expansion packs, like it seems like they have, maybe we'll start getting more game packs. And I wouldn't be mad to get more game packs. Like I usually really enjoy the game packs. Well, I'm looking at this and I'm thinking, no. Maybe I didn't enjoy the game packs that much. I love Parenthood, and I actually really like Outdoor Retreat and Dine Out and Spa Day, so I'm just not super into any of the occult ones, okay? Like vampires, I don't really care about. Realm of Magic, I don't really care about. Maybe we'll get another occult this year. It has been a while since they added one, so I guess that's possible too. Although I guess like anything is possible, you can't really make any assumption like that. By that logic, we'll get cars this year. Maybe horses. Anybody? Horses? I made a horse video last week. I'll link it down below. Okay, actually talking about cars though, I don't think we'll get cars this year. I don't think we're ever gonna get cars in The Sims 4. I hate to say it, but I don't see it happening. I think it's too far gone. It's been too long. And I guess I used to say that about toddlers, and that was years ago. We got toddlers in 2017, like 3 years after The Sims 4 first came out. And by then I was like, we're never getting toddlers. And then we got toddlers. But honestly, I think it's too far gone for cars to come to The Sims 4. Think about like how many lots in The Sims 4 aren't even connected to a road. Even when there are roads near them, they're not connected to roads. Like, you know the lot in Get Famous where there's like a big square and then a space about yay big and then a road? Why? Oh, it makes me so angry. But I don't think we're gonna get cars. And I don't mean like I don't want cars, so I don't think we'll get cars. I just can't see them doing cars. It doesn't seem like a priority with like what we have right now in The Sims. Wouldn't they be trying harder to like make it more realistic in recent years if they had that on their list of plans? You know, I don't see it happening. And I guess the last thing to talk about is The Sims 5. I don't think we'll get a Sims 5 announcement this year. Like, I don't think they're anywhere near being ready to like talk about and release that game, but we all kind of know for a fact that they're working on it. It's just that these things take like years and years and years, like 6 years to make. So while I don't think we'll get any like formal announcement of The Sims 5, I do think that we'll get some news. So while I don't expect to see any formal news or announcement, I think we'll keep getting like similar news to what we have right now. Because right now, all we know about The Sims 5 is what we've seen from things like job listings and patents. I guess even the CEO of EA had a speech where he mentioned like the future of The Sims and these sort of things. So I think that we can expect some stuff like that again. And I suppose in the coming few years, as it gets closer, and we're talking like few years, not like 1 year, like 3, 4 probably. I think as it gets closer, we can probably expect to see more and more of those things coming out. But right now, I assume it's too early in development to say. And I really should clarify, I don't know a thing about The Sims 5. Like, this is not a thing that I've been told by EA. I mentioned this earlier, but trust me when I say this. If I knew something about The Sims 5, I would zip my lips. I am not trying to get sued by EA. Because seriously, if I like leaked a game like that, I think they'd kill me, right? Like, this is no joke. I don't know. People always assume I know more about The Sims than I do. And I guess that's valid because I do hear about some things in advance, but like, not this kind of thing. I mean, everything in this video is just me talking and guessing. And I think they're pretty logical predictions based on last year. You know, we're kind of comparing how The Sims is going right now to how we sort of expect to see it in the future. And you know what? I think this video probably ended up being a little bit more negative than I expected it to be, but I'm just trying to be reasonable, okay? I'm trying to set logical expectations in my brain so that we are not disappointed. You know what? I guess I do have like a fun wish list, just like ideas that I daydream about, not things that I expect to see necessarily, just, you know, things that I want to see. Number one, generations, obviously. Number two, I'd love to see them collab with CC creators again. They did that update where they added a bunch of custom content items like officially into the game, and I'd love to see more of that. I think it's cool to highlight modders, and also it's fun to get like more stuff. Obviously, anytime I'll take free stuff. And I think that's probably pretty doable as well. As far as kits go, I do actually have a few ideas for kits, okay? I know, I have very conflicting opinions of kits. I keep being like, I hate this, it's too expensive, but also, ooh, shiny new kitchen, you know? I get it, I understand. I think many of us are in the same boat here. But I have 3 kit concepts. Okay, number 1, and I guess number 2. As of recently, they've been doing a lot of build kits that are like sets. Like, here's a bunch of things to create this look as a whole. Like, here's a country kitchen, or here's an industrial loft, you know? I propose, instead of that, just give me a load of beds. Not like matching beds. Give me a bunch of different beds. Different kinds of beds, different styles of beds, just more beds, okay? We kind of got this in Dream Home Decorator, but more. I need more beds. More options to make my bedrooms look different. Because you can mix and match everything else like dressers and nightstands and stuff, but the bed is like the key piece. I need more variation. And on a similar front, couches. Same thing, the couch is like this main piece of furniture in a living room. I need more variation. Just a load of couches. I propose a kit with like 10 couches. Maybe like couple sectionals, couple love seats, but like a matching love seat and 3 wide sofa and armchair. Like I need more living room furniture. And also kind of different front, an idea for a gameplay kit I've had, kind of similar to like the vacuum thing, but instead it's kitchen appliances, like air fryer, toaster, blender. We don't have any of those. And like, I assume you probably have a toaster in your house. Why can't my Sims eat toast? And we get like a little toaster and a bunch of recipes to make in the toaster, maybe a deep fryer and like a bunch of recipes to make in the deep fryer. I just think that makes sense, and it probably kind of lines up with like the size of the kit they're looking for. And I would love that. I'd love kitchen appliances. I keep mentioning this idea. I talk about it like all the time on stream, but I'm serious. I think it's a cool concept. But I'm curious to hear what your thoughts on packs are in the comments down below. Also just in general, your thoughts about the future of The Sims, but especially like wish list items for packs. In your most wildest dreams, what do you want to see in The Sims? It's okay if it's dumb. I understand. You're allowed to have dumb wish lists, okay? Like, I made a whole video about wanting horses in The Sims as a joke. One of the reasons being so that you could die when you fall off the horse. And now I like actually kind of want horses in The Sims. Do I think we're gonna get them? No. Will that be a death if we do get them? No. Do I want it? Yeah. So tell me in the comments, what do you want to see? Happy New Year, everybody. And with that being said, I will see you all tomorrow. Bye, everyone. Do you know how much I love to just sit here and talk about The Sims? I could go on and on and on and on about The Sims all day. I'm not kidding. I love talking about this, and I'm sorry if I ramble, but I hope you liked it too.